Now, someone suggested I do the Rebecca Riots. Can't think why. Now, this is a quirky little tale from 1839 about riots in Wales. Now, it wasn't unusual that people were up in arms about taxes and tolls. It was a fairly common thing. This time it was tolls on roads for farmers. And it lasted about 5 years on and off. Now, what made this slightly more unusual? All the men rioting were dressed up as women. So why was it called the Rebecca Riots? The men called themselves Rebecca and her daughters. I believe, having read a few bits, that this was due to a passage in the Bible, Genesis 24 verse 60. Now, most roads were owned by businessmen, and businessmen, being businessmen, wanted to earn money. They could put as many toll gates up as they liked, and if the farmers didn't like it, they just didn't use the roads, which obviously wasn't going to happen because they needed to get their stock from one place to another to make money. Now, farmers needed to use the roads to make money, to move their stock and sell their crops, but they didn't want to have to pay the huge tolls that were being put on them, and not just huge ones, so many of them all on one road. The first attack was in 1839 on Efailwen tollgate. They rebuilt it a month later and it was destroyed again. There was also another one destroyed in LLanboidy as well. The only way to stop the riots at this particular time was they agreed not to rebuild those tolls, which meant that particular part of the road was toll-free, so the farmers' annoyance died down. Now, it all seemed to die down and there wasn't any rioting until about 1842, when at St Clair's in Carmarthenshire they had an abundance of toll gates built, and by the December they were all destroyed. This time it wasn't as easily stopped, and the rioting spread to Glamorgan, Cardiganshire, Radnorshire. There was even the report of a death of a tollgate keeper near Swansea. Now, with bad harvests and land becoming more expensive, where landowners were combining smaller farms to make bigger farms so they could earn more money out of them, they were pricing smaller farmers out of the market. And with increased population and more people wanting the land, it was just a powder keg of issues, just kind of waiting to explode. Eventually they were subdued, but that was by bringing in troops and the threat of transportation, basically hauling them off to the colonies. Rather than hanging, I suppose theoretically that sounds a better option, but I'm not convinced it really was. Now, some of the men just faded into the background and got away with everything they'd done, while, like I said, others did suffer transportation. Now, toll gates aren't really used today at all. You can see them dotted around all over the place, but they're not used in the same way. Most people live in them now. Very funky little houses. Apologies for the pronunciation, by the way. As ever, if any of you watch our other channel, you'll know that we don't always get it right, but we are really sorry. I'll put the spellings down below as well, so